Welcome to another edition of Entrepreneurs in Fuego, where we're documenting your journey.
My journey?
Your journey and the journey of entrepreneurs
And
digitally and their journey.
Okay.
And you asked me an amazing question. Actually, you asked me this off camera, and I was taken by surprise. I'm like, why are you doing this craziness? Why are we documenting the journey of entrepreneurs or people such as yourself? And I said, well, because it hasn't been done before. Why did Columbus sail to America? Because it hadn't been done before. I have no idea. Why did you create the Global Chamber, my friend?
Well, I think Columbus went overseas because he wanted riches, right? I mean, that was the driving force. He was interested in probably the Spain, right?
Queen Isabella, of course.
So they thought, they could make a lot of money. So
yes.
But it sounds like what you're doing is like what Global Chamber is doing. I can't speak for you exactly why you're doing it, but for Global Chamber, we're doing it because we believe that by creating a global chamber, we're going to be able to create more trade around the world. And that helps at multiple levels, right? So many communities, Arizona included, we're fighting over education dollars and we got to build roads. And so what's the best way to bring money into the community? Export. Have foreign direct investment, have people bring money into the state, and suddenly they're paying taxes. And that money, guess where it goes? It goes to education, it goes to roads, and so it's a much better conversation. You still fight over where it goes, but you've got more money, and so that's a good thing. And then ultimately, kind of the kumbaya behind the Global Chamber is suddenly the world is trading. And let's say in the future, maybe not in my lifetime, but in your lifetime, there's lots of trade between the US and Syria, or Syria and Somalia and India and China. So what happens in that scenario? There's money crossing the borders. Those business people, they have power because they have money, and they now can influence the leaders to say, you know what, stop throwing missiles across this thing because I got a deal that I don't want you to screw up. So the kumbaya behind the Global Chamber and why we're doing it is we want to make a dent in the world.
Are you saying that trade is the cure-all for?
At some level, trade is the cure-all for war, for poverty, for elevating the status of people. I've lived in a couple countries, one being Japan, which is a very civilized country. I had a huge argument not too long ago that our really smart person in Osaka should be doing sales. And I was told that women can't do sales. And she was the smartest person in the office. And I'm thinking, this is tough. So I spent several months of drinking after work, convincing these guys that this was a good idea. And finally they relented. And she became a salesperson. And by the way, the best salesperson they ever had. So that kind of, me thinking, why would anybody think that way? Well, people think different things. We think different things everywhere in the world. So by exchanging information, we understand each other. We elevate the status of women. We elevate the status of really every cultural aspect. Money talks. And when money is transferring across borders, business gets better and life gets better.
Doug Bruhnke, CEO and President of the Global Chamber.
I've heard of it. It's a pretty cool place.
Very cool place, actually. It's a
not as cool as this place. It's a cool place.
So this is what's cool about it, about what you do, because I think that the more technology that we have available to us nowadays, right, the smaller the world becomes. So when we talk about global,
that's exactly right.
When we talk about Global Chamber, really. In maybe 20, 30 years ago, that could have been, my goodness, if I have to go to Japan, wow, it's so far away. Right now to go to Japan is maybe a phone call, Skype, you're there.
Yeah.
It's so facile.
So I put my phone on the ground because it shouldn't ring while we're talking, but one of the, I've had multiple epiphanies over several decades, and one of them was just even a few weeks ago. I'm driving down the 101, don't tell any police officers this, and I'm on Skype with our person in Islamabad. And suddenly I'm thinking, wow, what if I could, for instance, I wanted to attend a meeting in Islamabad, that was going on there because I wanted to do some trade across or wherever. So why are we doing events and things where you have to actually be there? Why can't you just do it here? Which obviously it's being done, right? But now let's take it worldwide. So what we're trying to do, using the technology of both what's available, Global Chamber website has a back end that connects people virtually anywhere in the world. It's basically using technology to make the world smaller, and now that it's there and it's evolving and it's going to be way better even in 5 years, let's ride the wave.
You know what you should do? I mean, this is just from where I'm sitting right now. And you're probably doing it already because you're the smartest guy here.
I doubt it.
I don't doubt it.
You mean between you and me? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
This is a small world.
Okay. Yeah, that one, I don't know. We'll have to, that might be debatable over tequila or whatever.
You should Periscope some of your meetings.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're introducing and injecting that technology into our networking events, because now, instead of having, as we say in Spanish, 10 pelagatos, only 10, people in the room that are interacting with each other in a networking event, now we have a world of 300 people that has just joined us together.
So the
any way you want to count it, bam, they're there.
The next Periscope, I remember just a few years ago, we wanted to have just a video of a meeting, and it was a big investment.
Yeah, exactly. You can imagine.
So what's happening is evolving, and so the same thing is happening, globally. And so what drives us, honestly, really is, how do we help companies be more successful, because that's going to help the world be more successful. So that's how we kind of started, and that's what we're driving. As an entrepreneur, you can think big, you can think small, whatever you're thinking. This is kind of a big concept, right? So this is like, tying the world together with a global chamber. But any entrepreneurial venture doesn't need to be big. I mean, this is audacious. I was telling somebody the other day, we were interviewing somebody for our Los Angeles chapter, and she was from Eastern Europe, so she was a bit frank, and she said, the first time I talked to her, she said, I'd love to chat with you about it. She researched it. We had our second call, and she said, initially starts, you can't do this. This is audacious. There's no way this can be successful. It's just outrageous that you would even think that this is possible. And so I'm listening to her concepts and this and that. And it's like, okay, well, maybe you're right. Maybe it is too crazy. But we've made a lot of progress since then. And lo and behold, here we are. We're in 46 locations, and we're growing out to 525 around the world. And so why not dream big? But what my point was, entrepreneurs can dream small too. In fact, I think most entrepreneurs are really successful because they're interested in something that really matters to them, and they take it to the next level, and you find out other people around the world or in your community or down the street are interested in it too. So those are really key things. Just do what you really care about, and I care about global business.
What is your biggest challenge, Doug, with the Global Chamber and in this journey, in this venture that you have? Because obviously you're very passionate about it. You're bringing about tolerance by linking the world together.
Yeah, and I think just like anything that's not been done before, because there is nothing like it, you're overcoming some change. We do have a philosophy, I do personally, about collaboration. It's one of the reasons why we collaborate. Yeah. We collaborate with everyone. But when you're talking about, let's say, a big chamber, they can look at us like, oh, okay, well, so you're going to take my members. Well, no, that's actually not the case. Like yesterday or earlier this week, our guy in Atlanta called me very excited saying, hey, I finally met with the Atlanta Chamber. Thumbs up, we're collaborating, and they don't see us as a competitor. So those are the things that are happening every single day, that if we come into it with a mindset, doesn't mean everybody's going to see it that way, but a lot of them will see it, because our view is it takes a village. We've got to work together to help these companies, because the problem, and you asked me my biggest challenge, the challenge is today, this industry of supporting companies to grow internationally is very fragmented. It's all these little independent consultants who have a little bit of a piece of the world, and they're used to working alone, and companies don't know where to go because there's tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of them, and they're not in any way connected. And so a lot of what we're bringing to the table is bringing this fragmented world together. Some people should be working alone and be on their own. Maybe I should be too. But fortunately, we have enough people who get what we're doing, and some of these folks say, hey, wow, this is an amazing dream. This is something that can really work. And suddenly, we've got enough of a core energy that moves it forward.
Do you find that it might be a generational issue, Doug? Because the
I don't think
younger
so,
millennials they really want transparency and to share and everything else. Maybe
Yeah.
the old guard is still like, nah, this is my feed phone. I don't want to share a little bit.
That piece of
That
it.
piece of it, yeah.
That piece of it, maybe. I thought you were talking about more of understanding like the value of what we're talking about. I think some of the most excited people are the older people. Like, wow, this is a paradigm that I haven't seen. I think one of the things that the young people do bring is the technology piece,
Right.
the small world piece. It's like anything can be done piece, and why not? And by the way, I can do it on my phone.
Right.
So we do spend a lot of time with interns and young people and entrepreneurs, because I think to a great extent, they understand that we can actually accomplish this. It's very possible.
Things fly around here.
Oh, wow.
It's what you got to be careful. I mean, we got
Raining from God.
right, t-shirts, rain, and everything else.
or people throwing things at us.
But this is so cool, because in the global chamber, I can't imagine any other organization that can bring the world so close, and through trade try to change the world, right? I mean, try to change the environment, try to stop wars, and it's just a bigger social issue.
I mean, it's another way to do it. So there's so many great nonprofits, right? That somebody had a crazy idea and said, you know what, we can try to change the world. And we're not anywhere near any of these great nonprofits. We're only a year in. We've got 3 more years before we build out to 525 metros around the world. So we've got time. We're more vision than we are reality, but reality grows every day. And so we take it step by step, and we are impacting the world a little bit, but we got a lot of work to do to still be able to even make a dent. And so every day we work on making that dent.
When you go home today, your lovely wife is going to say, honey, look at the beautiful t-shirt that you're wearing. Who gave you that? I did. And this is a t-shirt that we give to our guest, Doug, and it's called Peaceful Soul. It's about the virtues that entrepreneurs have: simplicity, discipline, humility, kindness, and honesty. And that's for you, man.
Very cool.
How many languages do you speak?
Awesome.
How many languages do you speak?
I barely do English,
But
but I lived in
language.
Japan, so Japanese is my second language.
So how do you say "we're out" in Japanese?
So they that.
And with that,
Owarimashita.
so did that.